What is going on, guys? Welcome to a setup video. This is also kind of a Cake Muscle announcement video because we haven't had Cake Muscle in stock for over a year. Today I'm going to be setting up this skateboard and answering your guys' Instagram questions. But before I do that, I want to explain to you guys that these decks are a few dollars cheaper than the previous deck because, as you can see, the graphic is slightly shittier. I was able to save money on the cost because I drew this on the skateboard rather than paying for the distributor to heat transfer a graphic on. That adds to my cost, which adds to your guys' cost. So these guys right now, as you're watching this video, should be available on cakemuscle.com for the low price of $29. For a skateboard that you guys are gonna buy online, that is pretty cheap, and they are available in all countries, although if you live outside of the United States, shipping is going to cost a lot. So if you're not in the US and you're not buying a Cake Muscle deck, I'm not gonna hold it against you. But if you are in the United States, and if you're ever in your life bitching about why skateboards are so expensive, then you have no reason not to buy one of the cheapest skateboards on the internet at cakemuscle.com. Also, these are the same quality wood we've always had. These are actually the same quality wood that many of the big pro companies use. Most of these skateboards that end up in America come from one of the same 3 places. So it always kind of, I guess it makes me laugh, but it also kind of annoys me when people second guess the quality of any skateboard, really. You know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, Cake Muscle sucks, or Revive sucks, or Braille decks suck, but no one ever says, oh, fucking Baker skateboard sucks. And what most of you new skateboarders, or especially skateboarders that have never really seen the business side, you guys don't realize that all these skateboards are the exact same thing. No one's ever gotten one of these $55 skateboards and the moment they stepped on it, it broke. But if you're listening to just YouTube commenters, you would assume that that's something that could actually happen. Anyways, let's jump into our first Instagram question. Benjamin asks, are there some videos coming soon with Richie, Asian John, Justin Fig, etc. in the future? No, probably not. I know back in the day, a lot of my videos involved my friends, but Asian John's moved away. I never see Richie. Justin Fig lives in Utah, so not only do I never see those guys, I mean, even if they did live here, it's kind of hard to get a hold of people, and it's kind of become not my style to rely on anyone but me. You know, I upload 3, 4, sometimes 5 videos a week, and a lot of them are on a schedule. So for me to expect everyone to kind of take skateboarding, or more so YouTube video making, as serious as me, to expect that is kind of unreasonable, I think. You know, I can't expect these guys to care as much as me about skating or getting a deadline or even to show up on time half the time, because now that we're adults, you know, you don't just have free time to just completely fuck off all the time. You know, these guys have jobs, some of them have family or friends or other activities that they need to be taken care of, and me, I'm just kind of the YouTube guy who has all day free, who can kind of fuck off all the time. Not to be cynical about it, but I've kind of just lost faith in expecting anyone to ever show up on time, or for anyone to take this as serious as me. Not to be weird about it, but you know how many fucking times a month people will say, hey man, I want to sit down and talk to you about this YouTube thing. I want to take it serious. And I go, or at least I used to, I sit down, I tell them everything, and then after a month I say, hey, did you ever get started with that? Did you use any of those notes I gave you? Did you use any of those resources that I tried to help you with? And they go, nah, I never even signed up for YouTube. And it's like, oh, okay, well, cool. I mean, I can't really expect anyone to do anything. Not that that was in any way related to the question. It was just along the lines of how cynical I am when I talk to people these days about anything skateboard related or anything YouTube related, or basically any type of advice ever. Carb says, do you think you will make another full part skate video like What Time When? No, I don't think so. I think I've probably answered this before. Back then, speaking of being motivated and showing up on time, Gonzo was one of the hardest working, not only filmers I ever hung out with, but one of the hardest working friends I ever had, so it's no surprise to me that he's kind of found great success later in life. If any of you guys have played the new Call of Duty, I think it's just called Modern Warfare, Gonzo, my old filmer and editor for those video parts, he's in the credits because he did the animation for that video. While he was filming Skateboarding, he was going to college for animation, and the way that he worked and how he did it and how much passion he had for anything that he put his mind to is probably part of the reason why those videos, the skate videos, turned out so well and why he's become so successful. He's fucking done more than any one of our friends as far as their passion goes, and I don't think that's an accident. But you know what might be an accident is finding the hole. Let's go. Oh, easy. Next one, first try. That's what the fuck I do. Anyways, back on topic, I don't think I'm ever gonna find anyone as hardworking as him, and that's part of the reason me and him meshed so well, because, you know, if we did something like set up a skate date or whatever, like let's meet here, let's skate here, he'd be super down. Going on trips was super easy, he was super reliable, and we had this nice symbiotic relationship where, you know, I was kind of helping him with his video, but he was also helping me with my quote-unquote skate career. And not only that, but we were also really close friends. I don't have any close friends today that are filmmakers, so the thought that we could ever make anything even close to how good What Time When was, or even the Neat video, I don't think that's even feasible or possible. I do have a couple of friends that still film. My friend Matt Zacopola is working on a VX1000 video part, but I don't know if that's even something that interests me anymore. I mean, you guys have seen I've gotten really shitty at skateboarding. It's hard enough for me just to land one trick every week for our weekly Friday video, so I don't think that that's a feasible thing for me to be able to accomplish. Next question from Skate All Day. Kind of a weird one here. Do you listen to any punk rock? And if so, who do you like? I do not. I've never liked punk rock, right? But I've been to more punk rock shows than any other genre of music, and that's because for most of my adolescent life and even my adult life, all my friends have been in punk bands. You know, I prefer hip-hop, but my friends who are rappers are, I think the shows are just less fun, right? I remember as a kid, the punk rock shows were really cool because oftentimes they're in somebody's backyard or they're in some warehouse or something, and it was a cool place just to go and drink a beer, whereas the hip-hop shows, it's more people that want to smoke weed, I guess. Not to generalize anyone, but I think that shit is less fun, so I'm not a big fan of punk rock, but I have been to a shitload of local shows, and even today, a lot of my friends are still in punk bands, and I still go to these punk shows, and I've become this weird, like the old man, you know? I hate these all-age shows because it's a lot of like 14 and 50-year-olds trying to fight each other and trying to, you know, fuck each other's girlfriends and shit. And I'm just that old man in the background like, oh, I really don't want to mosh. I don't even want to talk to any of you people. But I'm here with the band or whatever. Don't worry, guys. I fucking ride a skateboard. I'm kind of punk rock too. Ooh. What a fucking... I shouldn't have even answered that question. Last question, since we are almost finished setting up the skateboard. It went pretty fast. Dante says, do you think skateboarding would be the same if it wasn't for social media? How do you think social media has changed skateboarding? I think we've talked about this before, but what comes to mind right away is back in the day, I think there was a possibility for people, you know, on Earth or even in the US, I think there was a possibility to be really, really good skateboarders out there and have them be unknown. And I think these days, I think it's really unlikely for there to be just completely mind-blowing, mind-boggling tricks out there that still exist of kids who no one's ever heard of, because everyone has a cell phone, and if you don't, you have a friend that has a cell phone who's filming you. So I think it's expanded the minds of the average consumer as far as like what's possible. Because here's a funny little story back in the day. One of my friends went to California to skateboard. He came back and he said, man, Cali kids are crazy. They're doing shit like front crook kickflip. And I literally thought to myself, that's stupid. You made that up. That's impossible. No one can front crook kickflip. That's not even a physically possible thing. You're making shit up. I don't even know if you even went to California, you goddamn fucking liar. And here we are, just a few years later, 10 years later, and that's a trick that wouldn't even make most people flinch. They'd be like, oh, okay, front crook kickflip, all right. I mean, it wasn't nollie inward heel in, so I don't really give a fuck. And I use that as an example because that was something that I heard that I thought was fucking impossible. But if Instagram existed back then, we would have probably seen, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of people either in their little small towns or people at their skate park where no one had a camera. We would have seen tricks like that. And I think skateboarding follows this path of once people know something is possible, the progression level just goes up, right? I think we saw that with the 900. Everyone was skating vert, you know, in the 90s, and there was a lot of really, really good vert skaters. And then Tony Hawk did this 900, which people thought was impossible. And then, you know, 5 years later, several people were able to do it. Now we've seen a fucking 1080. I think that kid Brusco did it. And we've seen a lot of pro skaters able to 900, and even a few who are able to do it during a contest. So a lot of things in skateboarding follow that. Once we see it's possible, then more people do it. Think about these crazy kinked handrails where somebody goes down, you know, a 10 kink handrail and you go, wow, back in the day it used to be the only thing that could go down that was a front 50-50. Now we're seeing motherfuckers, you know, nose blunting through triple kinks and backsmithing through these things using these curved rails. Nigel did that curved 5-0 double kink. I think once people see that that's possible, then they can do it. I also think that it ups the competition, seeing people really push the sport. I'm all for the Instagram crowd. The only part of it I don't like is now you get these kids, which this is fine, you know, if you get famous for doing something stupid, you know what, that's part of the hustle, good for you. But you get these kids who are called skateboarders who get really popular because what? Because they dance weird, or because like they're that one weird fat kid who makes weird faces, or they have little weird hand signals, or now the whole New York scene, it's all about dressing weird. And then you get this big following, and then let's say a new skateboarder came across those guys and goes, wow, this is skateboarding? This really looks easy. I'd much rather have people look at skateboarding and go, wow, this looks like a fucking challenge. There's nothing challenging about wearing some red camouflage, throwing your board on the ground, dancing around, and then hoping that the skateboard lands face up and then getting on it. If that's the way that you want to skate, that's fine. But I think if we had to choose sides, I'd be more down with pushing the sport as far as like skill and craziness and big handrails and technical tricks, rather than pushing the sport as making it become like, oh, it's friendly for everybody. You don't actually have to have balance or get good or practice. Just buy a skateboard and walk funny, and that's what it is. That's a type of skateboarding now. I know not everyone's going to agree with me on that, but that's just fucking, that's how I feel. Okay, boomer, whatever the fuck you say, old man. Back in my day, skateboarding used to be about landing tricks. Now it's all about dressing and bright colors and dancing around and pulling out your nuts and whatever. Can you imagine, can you imagine the next big skateboarding video game? I guarantee you, because of this weird influx of unusual people in skateboarding, it's gonna become like Fortnite dances. You're gonna be able to get off your skateboard, do a fucking little weird thing, floss dance, and you're fucking this, because no one's gonna buy the skateboarding video game if they don't have that. That's what this weird group has created. More time will be spent animating dances than creating cool handrail spots in this video game. This is all just hypothetical, but it's gonna be good work for Gonzo because he is an animator and he likes nothing more than animating Fortnite dances. I made that up. Anyways, final product, Cake Muscle Skateboard. Thank you guys for the questions. By the way, I paint this on every single skateboard, so every single one is gonna be a little bit different. I'm definitely not an artist, but I am trying to save you guys money and to save me money on cost, because we're not all Tony Hawk out here, okay? I'm trying to make $1 or $2, and I'm trying to offer you guys a competitive product for a respectable price. These will be out on Thursday at cakemuscle.com. Please support. Since all of your local skate shops have likely closed, support your local YouTuber who has not sold out and done any weird dances lately. That's all I got for you guys. If you know anybody who wanted to buy a Cake Muscle in the past year or so but wasn't able to because we're sold out, let them know about this video. Let them know about the new Cake Muscle skateboards, and the quality is still the same. It's great. I haven't done a setup video in 6 months, and I probably could have got another month out of this deck. It just got kind of flimsy on the tail. And I think that's because a couple times I had to skate in the rain because I was on a fucking deadline trying to get videos done for you people. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Kuna Matata, bitches.